Here it is, Monday morning, another beautiful morning. It's so bright. I can see the treetop. The colors are starting to fade a little bit now, but we have had the couple of weeks of the most beautiful fall weather I've ever seen. We've had sunshine every day, and in fact, it's so bright today I can see the dirt on my windows. It looks like I'm going to have to do a little window cleaning now before I let everybody else see how the little specks of dirt and where the raindrops have been on the windows in the past. It's been a while since they've been cleaned, so okay, we'll take care of that later. But I've got a good story for you today. I think I have a good story for you. I consider it a good one. It's different. It's not planned. I'm just telling it to you as I remember it. Jan picked me up Friday afternoon after she got off work, and I was going home with her for the weekend. Charlie cooked supper. He was fixing beef roast and potatoes and carrots, you know the works, that sort of thing. Charlie's a good cook, and it was so nice to, for a change, have somebody else cooking supper for me. I kind of like that idea. Gotta get me a Kleenex here. My nose is starting to itch, and wouldn't you know, it wouldn't wait till I get through with my program. All right, just bear with me. Get you a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you drink, because this is going to take a few minutes, and it's not in any certain order. Okay, I'm trying to think. We had supper Friday night, watched a little TV. Then Saturday, Jan and I had plans. The plans were to clean out the barn. The barn, I don't know how many big plastic tubs have been stored in that barn, but half of them are mine. For the last 20 years, 24 years, a few at a time have gone into Jan's barn. She had a barn at the other house where she lived. Now she's got a bigger barn. Thank goodness for that, because we can always find something to store in it. Okay, I'm going to tell this part of the story later. It's a story in itself. So I'm going to bypass our day, what we were doing then. We get up Sunday morning and we go to church in Georgetown. And afterwards we're going to a little pub. I don't know the name of the community. I never can remember those things. But it's out in the prettiest part of the country. Oh, the trees were just gorgeous yesterday, and we were going to eat at this pub that I wanted to go to, and they usually go to on Sunday. It only opens at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and Jan and Charlie have gotten to know the people who work there, and the owner, and a few other customers that come in off and on. So they made several friendships. I've met the owner, very nice man. His name's Patrick, Pat and Patrick. Okay, he's very, very pleasant young man. He's a musician. I don't know how much he sings and plays now, but I know he was pretty popular at one time. He did a lot of performing in Nashville, Tennessee. So anyway, we're having our lunch, and Patrick says there's somebody coming in just a little bit. The front door hadn't opened yet. We got there before 1 o'clock. And we finished our meal, and we could hear commotion outside, out in the back, where very grassy and shade trees. And I didn't really know what was going on, because sometimes with my hearing aids I don't hear everything that's said, so I wasn't sure what was taking place. I knew it had to do with a horse. Oh, somebody was bringing their horse for us to see. Well, I was pretty excited about that, because I didn't grow up around horses. And it's kind of nice once in a while when you see one of these pretty horses out on those bluegrass farms. You just dying to get up close to them. So this one, they had their own fenced-in section that they set up on the gravel drive behind the little pub. We went out. There were several people there. There was photographer, and I think there are a couple of young men that may have helped. I don't know if they were trainers or just workers that helped load and unload the horse from the big truck that they come in. You know, it's not a truck, but anyway, you know, those things they haul trucks in. So, what was taking place? Okay. I was introduced to this young lady, very attractive young lady, and this was her horse. Now, I'm not going to get this in the right order. I know I'm not. But anyway, we'll try to put it together as I go. Her name was Tammy Reagan. She owned the horse. She was the horse's mama. The horse was standing there, already dressed for Halloween, had on his witch's hat. And there were 2 or 3 people already dressed for Halloween too. Table covered with food for the horse, and there were items that Tammy was selling. Now, this is how it goes. Oh, wait just a minute. I messed up on my picture. I'm going to talk while I get my picture back, if you don't mind. Because I want you to see this picture so you'll know who I'm talking about. Here we go. Try to get it up close to you so you can see. There's Tammy. She looks kind of like Jan with the long hair. And that, of course, is me holding the rope that I was holding, the rope that the horse was attached to. See the horse's hat? Anyway, Tammy is talking to her cameraman, and she's trying to tell the story, and I'm betting in every now and then with my 2 cents worth, not realizing that her photographer was filming her. Yeah, leave it to me. But anyway, this is Tammy and me, and the horse is named Hank. Okay, that gets you started. You see who we're talking about. Tammy has written a book. It's called Be Like Hank. Hank is the horse's name. This is the book. Now, this book is only about 31 pages long. But I like books like that because I can read the whole thing in one sitting. Don't you like to be able to start and finish a book in one sitting? Because I'm a slow reader anyway. But you can see, this is Hank. Now, I'll tell you what I can remember from having read the book, and I'll have to read a little bit of it to you. First of all, I will wait and give you the information on how you can order the book, because I know you're going to want to when you hear the story about how she, let's just say she adopted Hank. And this is his story. So, Hank is 3 years old, celebrating his birthday. First of all, you see the white spot on his head. It's shaped like a heart. It's a beautiful story. And if you have children and grandchildren, whether they do or don't cater to horses, they'll want this book. This is the book for them for Christmas. No question about it. I want you to see the illustrations. Wonderful artwork. See that? See that? That's Tammy and the horse. I'm not going to read this story to you because I want you to order it and read it yourself. Here's another picture of Tammy and the horse. Can you see it? I'm trying to look around the book and show it to you. Not that easy. But anyway, you get an idea of there's pictures and stories on every page. Look at this one. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Okay. This was a story, a horse nobody wanted until Tammy came along. She tells the story about her relationship with this horse. Now, I'm going to leave that for her because you're going to order the book. The book is called Be Like Hank. And this is what she says. With every Be Like Hank storybook sale, your purchase contributes to Hank's year-round efforts to help feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and bring joy to children on Christmas morning. Thank you for supporting Hank the horse and his Salvation Army Red Kettle campaign. You know what the Red Kettle campaign, during the month of December, you're going to see them in front of many stores where you can contribute money. Together, we are making a meaningful difference in the lives of others. So, I'm going to give you an email number too. Wait a minute, let me find it here. I saw it earlier. Here we go. This is Tammy's email. It's www.forhanksake.org. O-R-G. You can go on your email and find that address, and you can order this book from Tammy. It's a beautiful book, and children, grandchildren, adults, anyone is going to enjoy this because it's a true story, and I know Tammy put a lot of effort into this book. I was so surprised when we went out and there were all these people. Jan was taking pictures. We were trying to get everything we could on a photograph, and we were having so much fun. I wish you could have been there. It's one of those situations where you're just going out for lunch, usual day, usual thing, usual food, same people. Not yesterday. Altogether different. And it is one of the most delightful days I've had in a long, long time. The people I met, and the funny thing was, there were about 3 of them looked at me and said, "Are you Granny Pat on YouTube?" It's kind of nice when people notice you and They recognize you. But the best part was, Tammy looked at me and she said, "I've seen you somewhere before." And I said, "Well, was it on YouTube?" She said, No, she hadn't seen me on YouTube yet. And she got to thinking, says, "Oh, I know where it was. It was a contest that one of the local TV stations had about recognizing," and let me think how it went. They were having a contest to choose a woman that should be recognized. Well, all you had to do was send in your photograph and a little story about yourself. And of course, the story about me had to do with creating my YouTube channel, and my age, of course, had a little bit to do with it, because at the time I was 87 years old, and it was unusual for too many 87-year-old women to have their own YouTube channel, and I was getting a little recognition from that. But Tammy was getting recognition for her work with Hank the horse. I don't know how the horse had been removed from the other horses, not kept groomed like the other horses or anything. And she just couldn't see the neglect that Hank was getting, so she took Hank home with her. And she started doing a little training of her own, and it got to where Hank was enjoying being the son of Tammy Reagan. She decided to do the book. She has other, what I would call souvenirs. There's a little stuffed horse, little one. Oh, a kid would love it. That you can also order from her. And while she was talking and telling me, she'd seen me before, and then she said, "Oh, I know where it was." She said, "I was nominated to be the woman to be recognized on the television, from television program." And I said, "So was I." And I said, "Obviously, we didn't win the contest." And we were laughing about it, because that's where she had seen me, was my photograph from the television station program. And I thought, how unusual. That was probably a year ago. And how someone can quickly recognize you just from an old photograph. I was amazed at that. So we got a kick out of saying we were the two losers of the contest. But she's a winner all the way. I want you to know that. I want you to order this book. It's for a good cause. The Salvation Army, yes, they get the money. The money goes for children. It goes to feed the hungry. It goes to provide Christmas for children. It goes for a good cause. And Hank will be delighted to know that he's on the front cover of the book. Isn't that a beautiful horse? Look at the heart on his forehead. And he was so gentle. I've never been around horses before. And I'm standing there rubbing the nose of Hank, and he's got big brown eyes. Of course, you know that anyway. Those big brown eyes were looking straight at me, and I thought, he is such a gentle horse. Every child would like to go up and rub his hand down the side and touch the nose Hank the horse. So anyway, I wanted to pass this little story along to you and encourage you to go on her website or go on her email and order this book and some of the other things she has to offer, because she's doing it for a good cause. And any child that likes horses is going to love the book. It's just long enough that it not too much for them to read. And in fact, it wasn't too much for me to read either, because I like the shorter stories. Sometimes I get carried away with my own stories, but I like reading short stories. Now, I gathered some things out of Jan's barn. Would you believe we emptied about 15 large plastic tubs of who knows what was in those tubs? We had no idea. And every time she pulled something up, now these were my tubs, and every time she pulled something up, I'd say, I don't remember that. Where did it come from? I didn't know I had that. I couldn't imagine. I had 3 nativity sets, different sizes. Some of them were this size, and some of them were this size. Beautiful pieces that I've had for 20-some years. And they've been in those boxes all those years. So I'm getting them out. I'm going through all of these things, and I'm going to do one story all about these things I've saved and the things I use in my Christmas decorating. I've given away a lot of things, and it's a good thing I did, because they'd have to raise the roof on the barn to make more space for more tubs of my stuff. As Billie Jean would say, we've got too much stuff. And it's a little bit of everything. So you hang in there. You watch for one of my shows. You'll know which one it is. I'll put a little title on it so you'll recognize it. Now this one is probably going to be titled The Way I Met Hank the Horse. So I hope you like it. I suppose somewhere along the way you can meet Hank the Horse, because she takes him places, she shows him, and she has beautiful stories to tell about her horse. She's the mama. And of course she's proud of Hank. And I hope she's watching this program herself. I didn't tell her I was going to do this. She didn't ask me to do it. I did it because it's a good story. It's something people can enjoy, and especially show this video to your children and grandchildren and let them see who Hank the Horse is. So I appreciate you being here today. Get out there in the sunshine. I've never seen a season as pretty as this one has been. And I know you will agree, no matter where you live, the hurricanes have put such a dent in the lives of so many people. But fortunately, the weather has been beautiful for this whole month. And it gives them a ray of hope, the people in the southern states that have suffered the damage of Hurricane Helene. They're getting a lot of help. I've seen things posted talking about the good help that they're getting. They're helping each other. That is probably the most important thing. When you're helping each other, you don't forget each other. You are going to be friends for life. So, anything that we can do to help those people, I think all of us want to do our share. So, keep in mind this beautiful weather. I hope the Halloween parade has this beautiful weather for the kids. They don't have to wear coats or umbrellas or anything like that, because there's nothing like celebrating Halloween for children. And I've told my own stories when I was a child. I told a story about I gave a Halloween party for Jan and Greg when they were about 10 and 12 years old. It's on my list of storytelling. You can go down through there. I should have checked to see what number it was. But you can read that story again, and that way I don't have to try to come up with a new Halloween story. Because if you're like I am, you won't remember having read it last year. It'll just refresh your memory this year. I'm going to get off. I'm going to see what I can find in the refrigerator that I left at home while I was gone. And I'm going to work on my collection of things. And you're really going to be surprised at all of the stuff I have saved over the years and didn't even remember that I had it in the first place. You stick with me. We'll keep telling stories, and keep in mind, my stories are all true stories. I don't fabricate a thing. I might leave some things out, but I don't add anything to it that are untrue. That's important to me, that my stories remain real and that you can enjoy them too. And by doing the stories on video, they'll never be forgotten. Isn't that wonderful to know that your stories will remain forever? And I'm hoping my stories do. I'm hoping they appeal to a lot of people. I'm getting good attention. I never dreamed that I could leave an impression with people all over the United States, with people in Brazil and Canada, Newfoundland, England, Ireland. I can go down the list. California, Florida, Texas. Got a bunch of followers in Texas. And all of you have been so kind and complimentary. And you brag on me. Woo! When you get to be 88, that's about the only thing you've got left to wish for, is someone to tell you you're pretty. It's so much more important at the age of 88 than it was when you were 18 and 28 and 38. Take my word for it. Anybody my age will tell you the same thing, that it is a pleasure to have one say you look so pretty today. And you have kept telling me that day after day, and that's one of the things that keeps me coming back, is knowing that I am doing something for you each day. I'm reminding you of your childhood. I'm reminding you of your grandmother and your grandfather. And you want to remember those things. It's so important to remember. your history. I don't have a long history, a big history of important people in the family, but they're important to the family. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's your grandfather, it's your great uncle, it's your mother, it's your sister. Those are the most important stories you can tell. So I am suggesting you start telling your own stories. Write them down. I've got one book I bought in the basement of Harrods of London. It's just blank pages, but it's got the name Harrods on the front of the book. Let me show you that little book. Hold on just a minute. Move my book over. See this little book? It says Harrod. Getting kinda, well, I need to take better care of it. This is the first, no, it's the second book I did. And it's dated August the 3rd through the 10th, 2003. McCue to Voyage. From New York to Southampton, England. This is my book. See this? I'm trying to hold it so you can see it. Can you see that? I'd reached the point where I was going to have to go to the back of the book and start doing the back of the page on the back side. But this is the history of 1 week in England. And it's so nice when I can't remember the name of the theater, or I can't remember the name of the little town or village that we traveled through. And I can go to this book and I can start searching what day was it, and I can look through and I can get that information out of this little notebook. Buy you one of these and keep a pen with it, and every time you get in the car to go somewhere, you may think you're just going for a drive down the road, stop at a little market somewhere, pick up a few fresh vegetables, and they're coming home. Or you may be eating at a little pub with your daughter, your son-in-law, and the owner of the pub comes over and talks to you, and he tells you there's going to be a horse coming, and that he's telling me all about it, and that I'm going to enjoy what's going to take place that afternoon. See, I would never have known that I was going to get to meet Hank the horse yesterday. I would never have known I was going to meet the author of the book, Be Like Hank. No. And look at the beautiful artwork. Oh, there's his horseshoe. But look at this artwork. Isn't that beautiful? Wish I could paint like that. But that's the whole point of a notebook. Little old notebook. Scribbling all the way through it. Fortunately, my hand was a little steadier then than it is now. And I can still read what I have written. This stays with me. When I'm gone, I'm hoping someone who follows after me thinks enough of my writing to save this book. Start your own book. I'm so glad I did this. This isn't the only one. I've got 3 or 4 more where I noted where I went, what I did, who I saw, and going to the theater. See, I couldn't remember the names of the theaters in London, and I would forget who the stars were in the Broadway shows. They're in the book. That's how. It's not my fantastic memory. I wrote it down. I wrote it down. Keep on going. That's a lot of words, people. And I even think I might sit down one day and reread it. That means I'll be taking the trip again to London, England. One of the most delightful times of my life. I said it was a turnover in my life when I made my first trip to London, England. I hope you're able to do the same thing, even if it's just a 50-mile drive down the road to your grandfather's farm. Put it in writing. You'll love it. So I think I've said enough. I just wanted to pass this along. Tammy Jo Reagan, Hank's mom, the author of this book, that you're going to order from her because you're going to be helping children, people who are hungry, Christmas toys that will be bought, and you're going to be doing your good deed for someone else. You won't be sorry you ordered this book. No, there's Tammy and Hank. Remember them when you see the red kettle. Drop your money in that kettle. It's going to the Salvation Army, and they are going to be passing out the gifts and the kindness from all of you people. So now I'm getting hungry. I didn't eat breakfast. I just got my little glass of juice. This is grape juice. Tastes pretty good when you're not a coffee drinker. So I'll just stop now before I bore you to death with another story, and I'll be back with you in a couple more days. You be watching for the next story, and thank you for being with me today. I look forward to seeing you, and I couldn't do this without you. Remember that. Thank you.